Good evening. You are watching the first issue of Kazakhstan Weekly in 2015. I'm Rahim Shakbayev. Tonight we would like to sum up the major events of 2014. The well-known public figure Ali Akhmetov joins me in our studio. Mr. Akhmetov, I'm glad to see you.
Good evening.
President's State of the Nation address, Nurly Zhol, Path to the Future, was one of the main events of the year. President's address to the people was inspired by complex processes in global economy and the geopolitical crisis. Today, the world is teetering on the edge of the precipice. The president noted that Kazakhstan can feel the effects of the political and economic upheavals.
The new economic policy will be an adequate response to the coming global challenges. Its priorities are the development of transportation and logistics system, modernization of housing and communal infrastructure, and the support of small and medium-sized businesses. In addition, the program focuses on the fulfillment of social obligations to the people. The head of state has promised not to reduce the size of salaries and pensions. Nursultan Nazarbayev has also decided to further increase the financing of construction of rental housing. Within the next 2 years, 180 billion tenge will be allocated for that purpose. A share of 50% of the apartments will go to young citizens under 35 years old. The other half will be provided to the socially vulnerable category of people. The address also talks about funds for repair of emergency schools and the reduction of the deficit of places in preschool institutions. Experts call the new economic policy as a step to the top 30 developed countries in the world. The address fully reflects the increased economic potential of Kazakhstan. 20 years ago, the country did not even have a dollar in its own reserves, and today it announces to the world its budgets in huge amounts for the construction of infrastructure, the solution of urgent social problems, and improvement of the financial sector.
I spend my life traveling around different countries and working in many different education systems. Very few of those countries have had or have a strategic policy to develop the human resource capital of the country in the same way that Kazakhstan has. I think it's a very forward-looking program. It has been around a long time, it's mature, and I think the president and the officials are to be congratulated for having such a forward-looking program.
I've read the Kazakh president's latest State of the Nation address. He's one of those rare politicians who are concerned about the future of his people with a whole heart. In this document, he takes a number of effective solutions for the further development of the country. They will also help to overcome the effects of the global economic crisis.
So, Mr. Akhmetov, according to the address of the president, on which tasks the country should concentrate in the near future?
In the last address of the president to the people of Kazakhstan, he launched a new economic policy, I would say. And the address is titled as Nurly Zhol, that means the path to the future. And this address was well accepted not only by the public of Kazakhstan, but also by different foreign countries. And it has been discussed at different levels, and evaluation was very objective, I would say, and both the people of Kazakhstan and the government bodies accepted this address very, very positively. The reason is quite clear, because as we have last time mentioned that economic crisis is still going on. The oil price has fallen down, and our neighboring country, Russia, is suffering very much. And I think the crisis will affect Kazakhstan too, because we are also oil producing and gas producing country, and if the price goes down, it will of course will affect our country too. That's why in his new address the president paid much attention to the development of infrastructure of the country. For example, in the logistic and transport, for example, area, that is to build roads, not only just roads, but railroads, also airways, and also social sector, also infrastructure of the industry. And in the new address, the president again and again underlined that a lot of money will be allocated to the economy from the national fund. As you remember, during the last recession, Kazakhstan has succeeded in this area due to the fact that Kazakhstan has allocated a lot of money from the national fund into the budget, and that's why it saved the banking system, economic system of Kazakhstan. And the same, for example, experience is being repeated now. A lot of money will come to help the economy during this recession period. On the other hand, the president is quite sure that any crisis will come to an end at the end of the day. That's why when we created our budget for the coming years, the price was higher, even $100 per barrel. Now, later we made amendment because taking into consideration that the price will stop somewhere at $80 per barrel. But now it is falling down. That's why the government will have to reduce the budget, because taking into consideration all those changes. And, but still, the obligation of the state in the social sector will be fulfilled completely, and salaries and pensions will not be reduced. This is a very important fact. And of course, taking advantage of the crisis period, we should develop our infrastructure in any field of our economy. That's the main thing. This is the main core element of the new address of the president to the people.
Global economic trends raise serious concern. The world economy just began to recover from the 2007-2009 financial crisis, but yet again is witnessing negative factors of geopolitics. In the past year, citizens of Kazakhstan has already experienced the adjustment of tenge, or simply put, devaluation, when the national bank has ceased to artificially support this currency. By the end of the year, the world experienced a new economic shock, plummeting oil prices. The state budget for 2014-2016 had to be amended, taking into account the average oil prices of $80 per barrel. But as it turned out, this was not enough. The prices has fallen down to $60. Let's try and remember how it all happened.
The beginning of 2014 was marked by some unexpected and unpleasant events for the average Kazakh people. On February 11, the cost of the national currency against the US dollar surged up to 185 tenge per $1 compared to the previous 145 to 155 tenge per dollar. The weakening of the currencies of most of the developing countries, and in particular of the BRICS member states, were among the factors that forced the national bank to devalue tenge. Particularly, the fall of the Russian ruble affected the value of tenge. According to bankers, the course correction was needed to restore the competitiveness of the domestic currency, preserve the trade balance of the economy, and strengthen the position of Kazakh producers, both exporters and producers of import substituting products. The situation around the largest Kazakh field, Kashagan, was also doubtful during the year, while the production, which started in September 2013, was stopped almost immediately due to technical problems with the gas pipeline. Initially, experts have promised to solve the problem by 2014, but later it became clear that the commercial production of oil in the North Caspian field will be restored not earlier than 2016. More than a half of all export revenues of Kazakhstan comes from oil. Along with the suspension of Kashagan, the fall in the world prices for hydrocarbons, which began in the summer, was tangible for Kazakhstan as well. However, by the end of the year, there was a slight reverse, though it is unclear whether their prices hit their lowest and bounced back, or it is just a temporary pause. However, the Kazakh authorities have reassured people by stating that they are ready for the situation and will brave the cost of oil at as low as $40 per barrel, and even in this case, all the social obligations for the state will be carried out in full. Kazakhstan had to revise the budget for 2014-2016. The expected state revenue has reduced and expenses have increased on the contrary. Amid these events, a very positive news were announced in December. The cost of the most popular gasoline with the research octane number 92 reduced from 128 tenge to 115 tenge per liter. However, this reduction has only compensated the August jump in prices in Kazakhstan's gas stations. Nevertheless, it was a profitable year for Kazakhstan. No matter the declining trends of the global economy, the domestic economy demonstrated its effectiveness. The economic growth has slowed down, but not to a critical level. According to the government statistics, it totaled 4.3% instead of the expected 5%. The inflation rate for the year amounted to almost 7%. The government revised forecast for 2015. They have become less optimistic, but more realistic. The GDP growth is now expected to reach 4.8%. Inflation is expected to range from 6 to 8%. The structure of the economy is changing with the biggest increase in the processing industry. Absolutely new kinds of production are being launched in Kazakhstan. The domestic producers will not encounter any problems with the sales market, with the Eurasian Economic Union beginning to operate from January 1. 5 states, Kazakhstan, Russia, Belarus, Armenia and Kyrgyzstan, are members of the union that provides the freedom of movement of goods, services, capital and labor.
So, Mr. Akhmetov, how much is the domestic economy protected from the effects of the sharp fluctuation in oil prices? Because it's not a secret that we are seriously dependent on our export incomes.
Let's come to this issue from different angle. With the 1st of January, Kazakhstan, Russia and Belarus will start the Eurasian Economic Union, and the situation is very, very shaky, as you say, for example, because of the financial crisis, banking crisis in the world. In some of the European countries, for example, unemployment reaches 27%, for example, in Spain and in very many other European countries. And the situation in Russia is well known. And of course, central bank is intervening, but in spite of the fact now ruble seems to be stabilized, but I'm not quite sure whether it will be stable or not further on. Because just today, from the mass media, I heard that America again created sanctions on Russia. President of the United States, Obama, declared new sanctions will be established against Russia. And earlier, these kind of sanctions came not only from the United States, but European partners. And now these sanctions are growing. The numbers of sanctions are growing. Of course, they will have negative effect on Russia, and Russia is our main economic partner in the Eurasian Economic Union. That's why we should be very cautious, and I'm glad that the president has foreseen these difficulties, and he has declared new address to the people, and he has taken great measures against these challenges. And but in spite of the fact, I think beginning with the new year, the situation will be complicated, I would say, and Kazakhstan should be ready to any kind of volatile situation in the economy, in the policy, and in the world order. That's why. But on the other hand, I am very happy that Kazakhstan is not suffering from Holland disease. Holland disease, you know that when only one sphere of economy is developed and all the others are not paid much attention, and during crisis time the whole economy collapses. And from this point of view, Kazakhstan has taken preventive measures. Kazakhstan is diversifying its economy, agriculture and very many other spheres. For example, Now we, from the new year, we'll start second 5-year plan of innovative economic development, industrial innovative development programs, and that is very important, because if we only, for example, depend on oil and gas, the whole economy will ruined. But due to the fact that we have already diversified our economy in the industry, will survive. Of course, difficult times are coming. I think we shall overcome. We shall overcome. I'm quite sure.
The year 2014 was full of political events. The structure of the Kazakh government was changed. A number of ministries and departments were reorganized, or some even dissolved. This was explained by the need of creating a more efficient system of public administration and compact government that could quickly respond to new challenges. Let's try and remember major reshuffles in 2014.
2014 turned out to be extremely unpredictable for the higher ranks of Kazakhstan's public service. During the year, the government changed its structure twice. Prime Minister Serek Akhmetov resigned in the spring after serving for 1.5 years since September 2012. The president accepted his resignation and on the same day met with the members of parliament to discuss candidacy for the new prime minister. The parliament chose Karim Masimov, who has established himself as a strong anti-crisis manager and has the experience of cooperation with the international institutions and investors. He has served the longest term as the head of the government in the history of independent Kazakhstan from 2007 to 2012. In one of the interviews, Masimov said that he is a workaholic whose hobby is his work. Analysts noted that Masimov is one of the first Kazakh prime ministers who introduced the practice to personally participate in all boards of ministries. His style of work is often characterized as a deep concentration with the highest daily pace. He practically has not taken any vacations. President appointed Nurlan Nigmatulin as the new head of his administration, who previously was a chairman of the Majlis. Kabibullah Jakupov became Speaker of the Majlis, and for the first time in Kazakhstan, Dariga Nazarbayeva, a woman, became Deputy Speaker of the Majlis. The new government had only worked for 4 months, and in August, more than 90,000 Kazakh officials were taken by surprise as President Nazarbayev announced the optimization of the structure of government. In practice, this meant a reduction of government employees. Instead of 17 ministries and 9 agencies, only 12 key departments were left. 5 of them are completely new, and out of 54 committees, only 40 continued their work. The head of state explained the restructuring by the need to develop a compact government and increase efficiency of public administration systems. Thus, 5 new ministers have been established: the Minister of National Economy, Minister of Investment and Development, Minister of Healthcare and Social Development, Minister of Energy, and Ministry of Culture and Sports. The heads of some abolished ministries were appointed as deputy ministers. The appointment of Vladimir Shkolnik was quite unexpected. He became head of the newly created Ministry of Energy. His service record includes such posts as the Minister of Science, Minister of Industry, President of the Academy of Sciences of Kazakhstan, the head of the Atomic Energy Agency, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Energy. Regional governors were also affected by the reshuffle. The return to Kazakhstan and the appointment of Daniel Akhmetov as a governor of East Kazakhstan region perhaps could be called the biggest comeback of the year. Over the years, he had been appointed as Prime Minister, Minister of Defense, Minister in charge of Energy and Infrastructure in the Eurasian Economic Commission. The former head of East Kazakhstan, Berdibek Saparbayev, became Deputy Prime Minister. Senator Sergei Kulagin was appointed as a governor of Akmola region. Amandik Batalov is the governor of Almaty region since last year. And another significant introduction was the dissolution of financial police that made unscrupulous officials tremble when pronounced out loud. Now, the new Agency for Civil Service Affairs and Anti-Corruption is responsible for the fight against corruption. Kairat Kazhamzharov is the head of the new agency, who is best known for fighting corruption and bribery for many years. First in Almaty, then in the Aktobe region, and only then on a national scale. Optimization also took place among deputy prime ministers. There are only 2 left instead of 4. Another reshuffle took place in the second half of October. Gulshara Abdikalikova was appointed as Secretary of State of Kazakhstan. Previously, she served as Deputy Prime Minister. Imangali Tasmagambetov became new Defense Minister. Tasmagambetov earned his reputation of a good manager while working as a mayor of Almaty and Astana. In different years, he also served as a Deputy Prime Minister and Prime Minister of the country. Adilbek Jaksibekov became the mayor of the capital. He was the first mayor of Astana immediately after the transfer of the capital from Almaty to the Akmola region.
So, Mr. Akhmetov, in your opinion, what reshuffles were most successful?
Yes, last year the president has taken some steps to reform the government, and some reshuffles had taken place. And the most surprising was the nomination of the mayor of the city of Astana to the post of Minister of Defense. And it might look very surprising, but I would say it was done in time, I would say, because defense area is very, very important area, and Tasmagambetov is a very experienced manager, and I hope and I'm quite sure he will manage this area very well. And the former Minister of Defense came back to his first post. He once was already mayor of the city of Astana. Now he returned to this post. Hopefully he will continue as successful as his predecessor, Tasmagambetov. On the other hand, for example, the governor of East Kazakhstan region returned to Astana. Now he is one of the deputy prime ministers of the government. And Akhmetov was appointed to that post, very experienced person also. And in one word, these kind of reforms take place. This is usual practice. These kind of reforms happen only with one purpose, to make the government compact, and so that the government should respond to the challenges in time. I think I wouldn't say any surprise. There is no surprise. This is usual practice. And hopefully these managers will lead different spheres of the economy of Kazakhstan, and at the end of the day, Kazakhstan will win from these kind of reforms.
The year 2014 was very abundant with cultural events in Kazakhstan. Productive work of Kazakhstan's talents raised the image of the country to the highest level. Kazakhstan is now perceived as the guardian of the national spirit values, which keeps up with the times, integrating into all spheres of the art in the world.
The highlight of Kazakhstan's cultural program this year was the world tour of the Astana Opera Theatre. Kazakhstan troupe traveled to the United States, Canada, France, Belgium, and the Netherlands. The first stop was in New York. According to music critics and audiences, the Astana Opera troupe made a splash in one of the world's most prestigious venues, Carnegie Hall. The largest city in Canada, Toronto, hosted performances of the Kazakh theater with the Voice of Asia program. The concert became first major cultural event in the 22-year history of the Kazakh-Canadian relations. Astana Opera prepared carefully for its debut at the Paris scene with Opera Bastille. Famous pianist Denis Matsuev was invited for joint performance by the theater's management. The team went through long rehearsals, sleepless nights, and many hours of flight to show the European public that Kazakhstan is ready to enter into the narrow circle of world's best opera performers. Another achievement of Kazakhstan in the field of culture in 2014 was the inclusion of the Kui performance and yurt manufacturing skills to the UNESCO list of intangible cultural heritage. Kazakhstan is not going to stop there. The country plans to achieve recognition of ITs, Nowruz, and falconry. Last year, the southern capital of Kazakhstan, Almaty, reached the high status of a cultural capital of the CIS countries. The heads of the Commonwealth countries have agreed on it in October 2013 during a meeting in Minsk. The emphasis was placed on creating new creative resources of the city and the country as a whole in the framework of the project Almaty, the cultural capital of the Commonwealth. A variety of conferences and workshops that promote creative environment, along with the new and traditional festivals, were held. Among them were the Summer Open Air Festival, Art Playground, Orchestra Parade, Art Bat Fest Festival of the Contemporary Art. Kazakhstan won a number of prestigious competitions in 2014. The Kazakhstan singer Zhanar Dugalova, representing Kazakhstan in Turkvision 2014, won the song contest. The finale of the second international TV song contest was held in Kazan, Russia. 15 participants competed for the prize. Turkvision is an alternative to Eurovision for the Turkic world. The audience of the contest is over 300 million people. Zhanar Dugalova won the competition in Kazan, collecting 225 points out of possible 240. The soloist of Astana Opera, Saltanat Akhmetova, became the winner of another contest, the Grand Opera Project. The finale was held in the Great Hall of the Tchaikovsky Moscow Conservatory. Kazakh opera diva took the first place with 47% of votes. The Grand Opera project lasted for 2 months, and for all that time, Saltanat Akhmetova almost lived in a plane between Astana and Moscow. Akhmetova has already victories in other national and international competitions.
Before Astana Opera, all lyric people and all professional opera people think only Japan or China country for the lyric theater. Now, in this big land, Eurasian, is open the beautiful theater, Astana Opera, and is a very important point for make a tournée in this part of the world. The whole opera, great opera, European opera, is possible to think to Kazakhstan and Astana like a capital in this big country, Eurasian country.
We knew that many people would not understand the meaning of the words in this song, but probably that is the miracle of the music and songs. Even those who did not understand the Kazakh language said that they felt every key of the composition. The meaning of the song is that in the modern world, we would not forget that we are the descendants of the great people like Abai and Jambil.
So, Mr. Akhmetov, what cultural events would you say were the brightest? Share your impressions.
Last year, Astana Opera made a world tour, I would say. First, it came to New York and it staged it showed the Kazakhstan art on the scene of Carnegie Hall, one of the famous halls in the world. And it was a surprise, I would say. And of course, this event raised the image of Kazakhstan art and culture on a higher level. And not only New York was the last point, but Kazakhstan Opera also, Astana Opera also staged, showed its art on the stage of Toronto, one of the major cities of Canada. And then on the way back, Astana Opera stopped in Paris. And Paris also accepted Astana Opera very warmly. And also in Belgium, in Netherlands. And I would say Astana Opera has succeeded a lot. And the whole world got acquainted with the culture of Kazakhstan. And now Astana Opera, Astana is one of the major opera, for example, art in the world. It's becoming so. On the other hand, I would underline 2 more events. Our singer, famous singer Dugalova, for example, participated in the biggest concert Turk Vision in Kazan, and she won the first place. And on the other hand, Saltanat Akhmetova also participated in the very big contest in Moscow Bolshoi Theater, and she has won the first place. And this means these events show that that culture in Kazakhstan is developing parallelly with the economy of Kazakhstan, and we should be proud of it. And I think cultural events will continue. On the other hand, last year, for example, several countries, for example, have held their days of culture in Kazakhstan, and Kazakhstan has held the day of culture in different foreign countries. And this practice is also continued, and it will bring good fruits. And the culture facilitates, promotes economy, because the more people come together, the more they get acquainted with different cultures, they enrich themselves. And it is a reciprocal process. And Kazakhstan is also enriching its culture by taking part in different cultural events in the world.
The licensed weightlifting World Championship in Almaty was the most memorable sporting event of this year. The audience witnesses that persistent competition, world records, tears of joy, and of course victories. Watch the next story to find out about Kazakhstan's sport results in 2014.
The Winter Olympic Games in Sochi, Russia highlighted the sports world at the beginning of 2014. Kazakhstan's Denis Ten won the only Olympic medal in figure skating. He finished third in the free skating routine. The 2013 World Championship silver medalist became the first figure skater from Central Asia to win a medal at the Winter Olympics. After witnessing the success of Denis Ten, many young skaters in Kazakhstan were inspired and now take the sport seriously. Parents and coaches dream to raise new champions. Other results in Sochi include the skiers Alexei Poltoranin and Nikolai Chabatko, who finished 8th in the team sprint. Another candidate for the medals, speed skater Denis Kuzin, 2013 world champion, showed 7th result in a distance of 1,000 meters. Performance of the Kazakh national team at the Summer Asian Games in Incheon could be called successful. At the Games in South Korea, the team won a total of 84 medals, finishing 4th in the overall standings. The team brought home a record 28 gold medals, the most in country's history. Kazakhstan won first gold medals in tennis and beach volleyball. Swimmer Dmitry Balandin became a 3-time champion, while rowers won 5 gold medals. Kazakhstan's Paralympic team won a record 24 medals. Success of that scale in Incheon could be one of the key factors to bring in more medals from Rio de Janeiro in 2016. The highlight of the weightlifting World Championship, which took place in Almaty, was a convincing victory over Ilya Ilyin. The 2-time Olympic champion and 4-time world champion now made a sensational debut in the new category and set a new world record in the clean and jerk with a record 242 kilograms. Zofia Chinchanlo got another gold medal for the Kazakh national team. The Olympic champion is now the first Kazakh to become 3-time world champion. Performance of Jasulan Kadirbayev was called a breakthrough of the year. The young weightlifter showed better results than his well-known teammate Vladimir Sudov and won gold in his debut adult championship. The captain of the Astana Pro Team cyclist Vincenzo Nibali won the world-famous race Tour de France. The Italian has confidently wore the leader's yellow jersey during 4 stages of the Great Loop. The other team members Dmitry Gruzdev, Tanel Kongert, and Michel Scarponi helped their leader from the start in England till the finish at the Champs-Élysées in France. The general manager of the club, Olympic champion Alexander Vinokurov, has led the team to the victory. Professional boxer Gennady Golovkin remained undefeated in 2014. The Kazakh has made it to the list of the most successful and promising boxers in the world. Golovkin finished the year with a trip home. In the summer of 2015, Astana will host a boxing night with Golovkin. The next fight is scheduled for February 21 in Monaco and will be the 32nd fight in his career. And another big sporting event in Kazakhstan was the visit of the legendary tennis player Rafael Nadal. The former world's #1 has visited Astana for a friendly match. His opponent was the French Jo-Wilfried Tsonga. The match turned out to be spectacular. Nadal had won. After the game, the stars gave away autographed tennis balls to their fans. They also had a masterclass for young Kazakh tennis players, students of the Academy Team Kazakhstan, and took a tour of the capital. I am happy to be in Kazakhstan. I was invited by your president. I know that he loves to play tennis. There is investments pouring into development of the sport. I am grateful to President Nursultan Nazarbayev. I never forget those people who helped me in life, who believed in me. I dedicate this medal to the people of Kazakhstan. Every match is interesting. The next year will bring us new opportunities, new discoveries. I think we'll go further. There will be more big names to face. I think we will achieve more career heights. I would like to wish great victories, self-belief, perseverance, hard work, and great results in 2015 to Astana Pro Team. Happiness and health to all our citizens of Kazakhstan. Go Kazakhstan.
Alga Kazakhstan.
So, Mr. Akhmetov, in your opinion, what qualitative changes have occurred in sport in Kazakhstan over the past years?
Over the past years, Kazakhstan has developed sports, different sports, very successfully, I would say. A lot of sports facilities have been created, established in different areas of Kazakhstan. And the result is very bright. I would say so because last summer our team has participated in the Summer Games in South Korea and has won the 4th place. And our sportsmen have won a lot of gold and silver medals. And previously also, for example, in different world championships, Kazakhstan sportsmen have won a lot of medals. And in In boxing area, our sportsmen are very strong, and also in wrestling, especially Kazakh wrestling, for example, which took place in Jambul, for example, Taraz. Of course, the Mongol sportsmen got the first place, but the other Kazakhstan wrestlers were also successful. And last time we also underlined that Almaty is getting prepared for the coming Universiade, and also getting prepared for holding winter games in Kazakhstan. A lot of facilities, sports facilities are being created in Almaty, and they are almost already accomplished. And for winter games, Almaty is a very nice place because we have enough facilities. And our sportsmen in heavy weightlifting is very we have powerful sportsmen like Ilyin, for example. And last year we discovered a new name. I think he also won a gold medal. I forgot his name, but a new sportsman has appeared. And in figure skating, for example, Denis Ten is very strong. And not only a single sportsman, but the whole teams are very strong. In Taekwondo, in other types of sports, Kazakhstan sportsmen are very strong. And because the government and the president are paying very much attention to develop this area, because our target is to reach 30% of the population to be involved in different kinds of sports. Sports means health. That's why in this area I think Kazakhstan is doing very well.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mehta, for being with us tonight. Hope to see you next week. I'd like to say goodbye to our viewers. See you in a week on Kazakh TV, and good luck.